I'm Dr. Shalini Patodia. I'm a dermatologist practicing here in Hyderabad. So I'll be talking about omega-3 fatty acids. So let's start with food. Our food contains majorly three types of nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Of the fats, there are saturated fats and unsaturated fats. In the unsaturated fat category, we have monounsaturated fatty acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids. Polyunsaturated fatty acids can be divided into two: omega-3 fatty acids and omega-6 fatty acids. These omega-3 fatty acids are very important for our health. These can only be derived from fish and marine algae. So how were these omega-3 fatty acids discovered? There's a cute little story. In the 1970s, people started discovering that fish-eating people tend to live longer than people who did not eat fish. And then scientists started to look into what is it in that fish which is making people live longer. And then that's how they discovered omega-3 fatty acids. So we all know omega-3 is good for our health. Now let's see where to get them from. Omega-3 can be found in fish, algae and flaxseed. So both fish and algae have the same quality of omega-3. You can take either, but I personally prefer algae omega-3 because fish omega-3 acids, the fish oil tends to give a burp which keeps on happening even after taking the capsule. Patients complain of bad taste in their mouth, bad smell, gas. So that's why I prefer omega-3 from algae, which does not have these side effects. So a lot of you might ask, what is algae? Algae is a type of small plant-like species which is a vegan source. So anyone out there who is a vegetarian and does not want to take fish for omega-3, please consider taking algae for your omega-3 needs. The omega-3 in fish and algae are majorly EPA and DHA, which are more important for our body as compared to the omega-3 found in flaxseed, which is ALA. DHA is a part of our cell membranes, majorly of the cells of brain and heart. So that is why we say that when the child is developing in the womb, that's why pregnant women are given DHA, because in the womb the major development of brain takes place. So that is when the brain needs DHA to develop. There are various parameters which have been studied and found that DHA helps improve our triglyceride levels, our cholesterol levels, our blood pressures, the risk of getting a heart attack is lower. These all have been studied and proven. DHA improves the levels of nitric oxide in our blood. Nitric oxide is a chemical which is needed for the health of our arteries, veins and heart. DHA improves the insulin resistance in our body. Insulin resistance is responsible for causing diabetes, PCOD, a lot of its role in acne and hair health as well. So because of all this, DHA is helpful in these diseases apart from our heart and brain. So DHA can help reduce your triglyceride levels by approximately 25 to 30%, which is huge considering the medicines that we give attain that level of response. So if we supplement DHA to your regular anti-triglyceride medicines, anti-lipid medicines, then that's a great addition. Let's talk about inflammation. What is inflammation? Simply put, inflammation is heat. So ideally, whenever we have a bacterial infection, viral, any infection in our body produces heat, which is fever, to kill that infection. But when we are having that heat without any infection in our body, it is just there, that subtle heat, not to the level of fever, but mild. So that is inflammation. Now, why are we having so much of inflammation? Of late, you must have heard so many doctors, so many videos, everyone is talking about inflammation. Why now? Because our modern lifestyle, such as our food, we are eating a lot of processed food, which increases the inflammation in our body. Our stress level, anxiety and stress, they produce cortisol, which is a hormone in our body, which increases the inflammation in our body. Our sleep pattern. So when we sleep well, when we have that 7 to 8 hours of rested sleep, we produce something called melatonin, which reduces the inflammation, which is lacking nowadays. So we are having high cortisol levels, low melatonin levels, which is causing inflammation. All these screens that we have around us, so much of blue light exposure, it is increasing our inflammation. So generally put, most of us nowadays are having high inflammation in our body. How do we reduce our inflammation? So to reduce the inflammation, you can have certain lifestyle changes. For example, maintain a good sleep hygiene. Sleep for at least 6 to 8 hours every night at a fixed time. Don't split your sleep. Don't sleep like 2 hours in the afternoon, 4 hours at the night. No, when you sleep like that, when you break up your sleep, your REM reduces. So 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Reduce your blue light exposure after 6 p.m. Morning hours, you need to have blue light exposure. You should have some sunlight exposure as well. But in the evening hours, you need to reduce your blue light exposure. Prefer vegetarian food over non-vegetarian food. Non-vegetarian food has been shown to be pro-inflammatory, whereas vegan sources, vegetarian food, are anti-inflammatory. In the vegetarian food also, if you go for less processed food, take whole food as such, don't process the food too much, then that reduces inflammation as well. Add omega-3 supplements to your diet. Now, how does omega-3 help? Omega-3 reduces the levels of CRP, interleukin-6, TNF-alpha. These are the markers for inflammation. So you know for sure that it works. How much omega-3 to take? Omega-3, usually if you are a healthy individual, you just want to maintain your health, you want to be proactive, 400 mg twice daily is good enough for you. If you already have some heart diseases, such as if you have dyslipidemia, if you have higher blood pressure, if you have any other heart diseases, then increase your dose to up to 3 to 4 grams a day. So omega-3 is best absorbed with high-fat meals. So take the capsule after your main meals. Like if you take heavy lunch and dinner, then take after lunch and dinner. So whichever your heavier meals are, you take a capsule after the meal. Prebiotic, probiotic, synbiotic, postbiotic. Probiotic is the good bacteria, the bacteria which are healthy for us. Prebiotic is the food which these bacteria eat. Postbiotic is the end products, the metabolic products of these good bacteria. And synbiotic is when we combine pre and pro, the good bacteria and their food in one medicine. That is called synbiotic. Too many probiotics in the market. So which one should we choose? How to choose your probiotic? So probiotic efficacy, the good probiotics, what all points we should be looking for? So we should look for the variety of the bacteria in that. Is it one type of good bacteria or 4 types or 10 types, or how many types of bacteria are there in that tablet or in that powder? Secondly, the number of colonies, the number of bacteria in that medicine. Third, a lot of bacteria are digested, they are killed when we eat them in our gastric acid. Gastric as well as bile acids both can kill the good bacteria. So the probiotic you choose should be resistant to these acids, the bile and the gastric acid. So a medicine which contains the bacteria in the spore forms is always better, as it can resist the acids. So how should you take your probiotics? Probiotics should ideally be taken half an hour before your food. So ideally take it twice daily, once before the breakfast and in the evening around 4-5 p.m. So what is gut flora? Gut flora is a group of good bacteria which our intestines are lined by. We inherit them from our mothers. It is very unique to every individual, but as time passes by, our gut flora becomes poorer and poorer in terms of the variety of bacteria as well as the number of bacteria. How does it become poorer? How does the gut flora deplete? It depletes by multiple reasons actually. One being antibiotic usage, lack of fibrous food, our poor lifestyle, smoking, stress. These all can deplete our gut flora. Now we need to replenish our gut flora. How do we replenish our gut flora? Our gut flora can be replenished by taking lots of greens in our diet, lots of raw fibrous food. So these raw fibrous foods, salads for example, these act as prebiotic. They are the food for good bacteria. And also when we take food directly from the soil itself contains a lot of good bacteria. Second, fermented foods. Lots of fermented foods can be used to replenish the gut flora, like for example curd, yogurt, we can have kefir, we can have kimchi. So these all fermented foods will replenish the good bacteria along with the prebiotics. Now another way of replenishing our gut flora would be by taking probiotics. These are supplements which can be taken over the counter. Choose a probiotic which has pre and probiotics so that the good bacteria gets its food also. Choose the one which has good colony counts, the variety should be good and it should be spore based so that the bacteria can resist our acids. So how will probiotics help with your health? Probiotics help with the gut health by reducing your constipation, gas, acidity, bloating, IBS. They create a healthy lining inside our intestines which can reduce these symptoms. They also produce vitamin B12, which is a very important nutrient for us, which is not present in any of the vegetarian sources. Probiotics also help with our mental health, especially depression and anxiety. Did you know 90% of serotonin is produced in our gut? Our brain only produces 10% of it. Serotonin is a very, very important mediator for our mental health. Lack of serotonin can cause depression. The medicines, the antidepressants which we use, how they work is by increasing the serotonin in blood. So this probiotics, the healthy bacteria, they produce it naturally in our gut. Poor gut flora can also lead to leaky gut. Leaky gut leads to a lot of inflammation. A lot of toxins from our gastrointestinal system can get into the blood. These toxins, this inflammation can lead to many inflammatory disorders such as diabetes, thyroid, even acne and hair fall are worsened because of this. Good probiotics can help you overcome this leaky gut syndrome and then improve your inflammatory disorders like diabetes, thyroid, acne and hair fall. Almost all of us are suffering from stress and anxiety nowadays. Everyone I talk to is telling me there's so much stress in their life. This stress is leading to a lot of mental health issues in our generation. So with today's lifestyle, a lot of people are suffering from acidity, gas, bloating and IBS. Now why does this happen? This is mainly because our good bacteria number has gone down and the bad bacteria have taken over. So this is like a balance which we need to maintain, good versus bad. So to suppress this bad bacteria, we need to send an army of good bacteria which can take over them and reduce these symptoms of bloating, acidity, gas and IBS.